Hello again, it's Chappie Peter with a word of encouragement from the Booyah Outback Chapel here in the central west of Queensland. If you're new to this site and haven't a clue where Booyah is, join the club because most people have never heard of it. We're 300 kilometres south of Mount Isa in Western Queensland. Our days are 99.9% blue sky, our winters are cold, our summers hot. Well, nowhere is perfect. But I'll tell you something, what is perfect is the sunsets, or should that be are perfect? Where's my grammar book? Anyway, let me take you to the local art gallery today. This is a fun, what I call digital art gallery, displaying the works of the most famous artist ever, our creator. The sunsets you will see are from the west, and I think you'd agree that some pictures are worth framing, and that's what we've done here. The iconic windmill in Booyah features heavily. Also, to give credit where credit is due, we've acknowledged the artist on each of these. If you can't find your glasses, each signature is, and I quote, your friend God. As I talk, I invite you to come with me and you can listen and view some of these sunset scenes. So I hope you're good at multi-skilling. I was Googling the other day, and who doesn't, and found this verse from Psalms in the Bible, Psalm 65 verse 8, and I quote, "Those who live at the ends of the earth stand in awe of your wonders. From where the sun rises to where it sets, you inspire shouts of joy." You could say Booyah is the end of the earth, but probably best not to say it to someone who lives here. We've all stood open-mouthed in awe and wonder at the beauty of the evening sky. And it reminds me of my favourite Dennis the Menace cartoon, where Dennis is standing with his friend looking at the night sky and he says to his friend, quote, "Wow, if this is what we can see from this side, imagine what it is like on the other." It was a fellow called Greg Laurie who said, and I quote, "When you see that sunset or that panoramic view of God's finest expressed in nature and the beauty just takes your breath away, remember, it is just a glimpse of the real thing that awaits you in heaven." Getting back to our works of art, I'm sure you've said, and I've said too, man, that's a beautiful painting. I wonder who painted it. I'd love to meet the artist. A side note here, everyone can meet the artist, as we know. We read in Acts in the Bible, spelled ACTS, chapter 17, verse 24, that God is not far from any of us. Christians are blessed to have met the artist. The great missionary preacher and teacher in the Bible, Paul, met the artist on a road while travelling. A dying thief met the artist on a cross that first Easter. I met the artist when I was 7, after being introduced by my brother, who encouraged me to do something about meeting up. Others met the artist in many ways and places. Some, like our friend I just mentioned, the chap called Paul, have that great awakening. Others like to sift through what they hear and make a decision. But the chappy preacher in me warns about putting off what one knows one should do, and that is an invitation to meet the artist. Interestingly enough though, as we look at natural beauty like sunsets, there's almost a subconscious realisation that someone bigger than ourselves has had and continues to play a major role. And we may not realise it, but he has the whole world in his hands. The writer of the book of Romans in the New Testament of the Bible said this, and it's found in chapter 1 verse 20, and I quote, "For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and the sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see his invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature. So they have no excuse for not knowing God." No excuse, eh? Psalm 19 says, and wow, aren't these verses interesting, and I quote, "The heavens proclaim the glory of God. The skies display his craftsmanship. Day after day they continue to speak. Night after night they make him known. They speak without a sound or a word. Their voice is never heard, yet their message has gone throughout the earth, and their words to all the world." I hope you're enjoying your stroll through the gallery, by the way. We come to the last painting, which reminds me of Psalm chapter 8, verse 3 to 4, in the New Century Version of the Bible. David the psalmist says to the Lord, and I quote, "I look at your heavens, which you made with your fingers. I see the moon and stars which you created. But why are people even important to you? Why do you take care of human beings?" The King James Bible says, "What is man that you are mindful of him?" Not only God takes care of us, but he demonstrated that love so that if we weren't convinced about the message from the skies, his unconditional love has shown through his rescue plan that first Easter must bring us to a halt. He also puts us in charge, by the way, of the planet. We are his hands and feet, if you like. A big responsibility. Psalm 8 says, and I quote, "You put them in charge of everything you made. You put all things under their control. All the sheep, the cattle, the wild animals, the birds in the sky, and the fish in the sea, and everything that lives under the water." And the psalmist concludes with this, quote, "Lord, our Lord, your name is the most wonderful name in all the earth." Well, I better let you go. Keep looking at those sunsets and praising the artist. He deserves all the glory. And remember, those sunsets leave us with no excuse not to know God and acknowledge him as Lord. Have a great week. God bless you each. Bye.